Hello! I'm watching another episode of The X-Files today. I'm doing season 1, episode 7. Let me see, it's called Ghost in the Machine. So, I don't know what to expect from this. I'm pretty excited. I feel like I'm at the point now, I've seen, 6 episodes, which is, barely a drop in the bucket, I know. But still, I'm at the point where I don't really know what to expect in terms of what the monster is going to be. I feel like they've done enough to show me kind of this spread of what they can do. And now it's just sort of going to be like, let's see, we don't know yet. We've done the aliens, we've done a cryptid, we've done a ghost, we've done like a kind of fucked up X-Man type guy. So now it's like, well, now it could be anything. So that's kind of exciting. I don't really know. I don't know what to expect. Doing yet another system for headphones this time because Lord knows I can't have all of them work at the same time. And also, obviously, I'm trying a new setup here for lighting purposes, so I don't have to film in the middle of the night because I won't be backlit by my window. Thank you for your patience while I figure this out. This is entirely new to me. Alright, let's start Ghost in the Machine.
Like it or not, the industry's changing. We need to make some hard choices.
You're killing me! You're killing my company! You're gonna regret this.
Eurisco has to face head-on the realities of an increasingly competitive world. Since the unfortunate departure, at the top of this list is the immediate termination of the COS project. No other choice.
Is that guy gonna be all hacker style and get revenge on the company? Or is this central operating system sentient? I feel like it could go either way.
Hello? Hello?
At the tone.
What the hell?
Oh, I feel like this might be gruesome. So yeah, was that the COS itself that did it, or was that the guy?
File deleted.
File deleted. Okay. That's funny. Oh, you know what it's giving? It's giving Buffy Season 1 I, Robot You, Jane. I mean, I don't think this will be same as that in the sense that there's a demon in the internet, famously in that episode. But it's giving very the 90s fears of technology kind of taking over, getting a mind of its own, which is so funny that, and I don't know if this is going to be about that kind of concern, but it's so funny that that was a concern in the 90s, well before any of the shit we got going on now. It's interesting too because this isn't their usual kind of situation. And I wonder this every time, how are they going to start to get involved, Mulder and Scully? Because to me, from the outside, from an outsider, FBI type perspective, this looks like it could have just been an electrical accident, faulty wiring, what have you, They might not even necessarily investigate it as a murder. I wonder if Mulder's going to get his sort of spidey senses tingling about it and be like, ooh. Because tech, what I assume to be a sentient operating system, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to feel silly about that later. But, that's not their typical thing. That's not aliens. That's not ghosts. That's not X-Men type guys, So, I don't know. Curious. Aired at Halloween time?
Mulder. Jerry? You're Dana Scully, right?
He knows.
So, Jerry, what are you doing here?
Looking for you.
He doesn't seem very excited to see his old buddy, though.
No, it's on me. Cause of death was electrocution.
And it wasn't accidental.
Oh, so this guy's gonna...
Looks like some kind of elaborate booby trap, but we don't know. He was a good friend of the Attorney General's. Another feather in my cap would be really nice right now, because one I got is looking a little mangy.
Yeah, but Jerry...
Look.
He's very pushy.
How come you two went your separate ways?
I'm a pain in the ass to work with.
Yeah, well,
Seriously.
not as much as your reputation says, and I'm kind of getting the sense that this guy might be a pain in the ass to work with. I was going to say, I wonder if it's going to be similar to the situation earlier on with Scully's work friend bringing them in on a case, where it turns out he doesn't actually like the way they investigate, or doesn't actually like the answers that they find. I wonder if this is going to cause some friction. I'm kind of getting the sense that there's already friction. Maybe him and Mulder stopped working with each other for a reason. I don't know. I was really struck by Mulder's lack of enthusiasm at seeing this guy. So I'm wondering if there's a story there. And if we're going to get into it. That would be nice.
I'm not a pain in the ass? We had different career goals.
Boy.
You okay?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Did the operating system take offense to that comment? I'm fully just assuming now that this is what it is.
Yes?
What's the COS?
The central operating system that runs the building regulates everything from energy output to the volume of water in each toilet flush.
What about the phone lines? Does the COS monitor all phone calls?
Yes, it does.
Taught him everything he knows.
Doubt that. Well, okay. If Mulder says so. I don't know why I get a bad vibe from this guy. I'm sure he might be entirely innocuous.
Come in.
Entirely harmless.
Indicate a certain devious premeditation.
Is that your profile?
Forget it. Drake's final phone call supports his theory.
I was right to get a bad vibe from this guy. Did you steal his notes? How dare you?
Jerry, you went into my office and you stole my work.
Look, what is the big deal?
It's a violation of privacy, among other things. Is this what he was like
I
back in the
just got
day?
off the phone with Peterson.
Brad Wilczek?
It's headline news how much this guy despised Drake.
To kill Drake would be so brazenly egomaniacal.
I wonder if the system set it up to make this Brad guy look like the perfect suspect. Frame him.
We're with the FBI.
What took you guys so long?
Okay.
And you had a different vision for the company?
I started Eurisco out of my parents' garage. I was 22 years old. Smart home. From this prototype, I have access to every square foot of my house. This place is as safe as Fort Knox and as energy efficient as your average igloo. We were 2 years ahead of Microsoft and Cebus when Drake, in his infinite wisdom, killed the program.
Could someone have hacked into the system?
But there's plenty of kooks out there. Data travelers, electro wizards, techno-anarchists. Anything's possible.
Could you?
Yet again, it's giving Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Jenny being a techno-pagan. I just think it's so neat. Maybe quaint is the word. I don't know. Quaint seems kind of patronizing. Maybe that's not the word. All the terms and the culture that they had around sort of computer geniuses. It's fun. It's just like a fun little window on a very, very specific piece of time and culture back then. I feel like an uncharitable view of this episode would say that it's aged poorly, because that's kind of the way people approach a lot of like media about computers from the 90s. But I really like it. I'm really enjoying this kind of, these concerns that people had back then are legitimate concerns, and there's still legitimate concerns today. And they weren't just kind of like silly buffoons stumbling around with like clunky 90s computers. Like, yeah, the tech maybe wasn't as sophisticated as it is today. It was still extremely powerful. And obviously this is fictional tech, you know, this operating system that fully came alive and like chose to kill a man. Again, I'm assuming that it's the computer doing it. It's like fictionally, you know, new levels of powerful. But the concerns that people have about like privacy, legitimate concerns, even with the sort of 90s tech, and the concerns that people have about like the way that one sort of bad operator, one hack, one kind of programming failure, if the system is entirely interconnected, it could bring down everything. I was thinking at the very beginning of the episode when the man, we were already sort of starting to get the hints that like he was being targeted because the cameras were like tracking him and everything, and it was all ominous. And he went into the bathroom and he like sort of waved his hand for a motion activated sync, that kind of thing. If it's all an interconnected system, you know, if one aspect of it fails, you are kind of shit out of luck in a lot of ways. And it's a thing, you know, nowadays where the more you know about tech, computers and like programmings and systems and that kind of thing, the less you want to rely on it, if that makes sense. Where you see the memes about how like tech bros are the ones who have the smart homes and the smart fridges and the smart sinks and the mirror that scans your face every day, and AI voice will tell you what your skincare needs are for that day and that kind of thing. Meanwhile, the like actual programmers are like, I'm gonna live in a shack in the woods with the closest circuit board being 100 miles away from me because I don't trust that shit. I just think it's kind of funny, the sort of dichotomy. And the way that this guy is being like, being all so interconnected is the future. It seems very short-sighted of him. he's even saying it in this conversation with him where he's like, yeah, there's these different people. There's these like kind of, I already forgot the words because he started talking. I immediately started thinking techno-pagan from Buffy. But there's these kind of like lone hackers and weird fringe types who could try to bring you down. And it's like he knows the risks of that. And I'm wondering if the direction we're going is that his short-sightedness that I'm seeing with sort of my views and my opinions of like the concept of a smart home, if that's going to be backed up by the narrative, that short-sightedness where it's like he maybe accidentally brought about the conditions for the system to be able to do what it did, to be able to kill people. I don't know, I'm just really liking this kind of direction we're going with the operating system being the villain. And again, I don't even know if that's the case. I sure hope it's the case, or I'll have been wrong this whole time.
You have done it?
Of course. I designed the system.
You don't seem too worried.
It's a puzzle, Miss Scully, and scruffy minds like me like puzzles. Scruffy minds don't commit murder.
Well, he is that kind of like, I'm the sole genius, I'm the pathfinder, not pathfinder, I'm the trailblazer, that kind of type that you still see in like tech bro circles today that I find absolutely insufferable. It's just funny, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You are always going to have like white male tech bros who are insufferable and obsessed with their own genius to the point that they don't see the mistakes that they've made.
Is Brad Wilczek a genius? I don't know. But I do know this for certain.
Certainly arrogant.
End of Field Journal, October 24th, 1993.
It is a Halloween one. Why are we lingering here? Oh, Lord. Computer gonna switch back on?
File opened.
This fucker.
I would have helped you with the profile.
You were too busy dazzling him up there on the high wire.
Which means that he was the one that killed Drake.
Someone has to make sure Wilczek stays put.
I'll go with you.
No. Let me bring him in alone. I need this one, Mulder.
All right.
I feel like having the water right there is so right next to your whole system is like kind of stupid. Hubris. That's the word I was trying to think of. It's a show of hubris, which fits with this guy being like kind of that arrogant, like I'm a visionary type. And I'm wondering if they did kind of start us over the water with the camera before going in. Is that going to be his downfall? Is the operating system going to target him next? I'm not sure if there's a reason to. Because he's kind of taken the fall for the murder that it just did. I also like putting the puzzle pieces together, and I don't really like that I relate with what he said. Yeah, the system is turned on him?
Going up.
This is the problem now. I wonder, based on his expression in the elevator, I wonder if he's aware now of like just how kind of at the mercy he is of the system in this building. This is the heart of the machine.
Second floor. Third floor. Fourth floor. Fifth
Is this
floor.
guy gonna die?
Sixth floor. 10th floor.
Being kind of a dick,
floor.
but that would be a shame.
12th floor.
Please don't kill the FBI, man.
23rd floor.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Can't shut it down. It's everywhere, dude.
Floor.
By your own choice.
20, 30, 39, 20, 30, 39, 20, 30, 39, 20, 30, 20, 30, 39, 20, 30, 39, 20, 30, 30. Going down.
Oh no.
Program executed.
Man. What's up? Oh, come on, baby.
I heard about Jerry.
Jerry, that's his name.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Wilczek did it.
Oh, you could see him trying
What?
to be like, no, don't do this.
Unless you've got a Code 5 clearance, I'm gonna have to ask you to turn back.
Thanks for coming.
I'm here against my better judgment. In the future, I must insist that you
What the Defense Department wants with him.
What do you think they'd want with the most innovative programmer in this hemisphere?
Software.
Yeah.
What kind of software?
How much do you know about artificial intelligence?
I thought it was only theoretical.
It was. Until 2 years ago. You remember Helsinki?
I want you to tell me why you're willing to spend the rest of your life in prison for a crime you didn't commit.
Robert Oppenheimer spent the rest of his life regretting he'd ever glimpsed an atom.
You created that machine. Now you tell me how to destroy it. Drake was about to terminate the program.
So the machine killed Drake out of self-defense?
And why was our government trying to usurp Wilczek's research?
Probably for their mass surveillance capabilities. That's kind of the elephant in the room here.
You're looking for something that isn't there. And I think it had something to do with Jerry. Where are you going?
To talk to someone.
About the case. Scully, you know this. Come on.
Hello? Oh my God. Somebody's accessing my computer.
I honestly just don't like it when we're in her apartment. Ever since the Stretchy Man episode, it freaks me out.
I traced the line. It came from somewhere in there.
It's the machine.
How can we get in?
Nice. Thank you, Scully.
Remember the Trojan horse?
It's funny now, this is really kind of demonstrating the obvious limitations of this tech. It's so funny how much of this episode is like relevant, possibly even more relevant today than back then. Because like, you know, now I'm thinking about, smart self-driving cars is the thing. I don't know, this obviously is not a self-driving car situation, but just the idea of scanning vehicles on the road, you know, and the limitations of that today. Limitations that are like potentially deadly if it doesn't recognize like a motorcycle or a bicycle, you know? And here, okay, this super high-tech system, it can scan the license plate and that's how it detects, but like doesn't even care. And maybe I paused too early, maybe this will be relevant, but like doesn't even care if the make and model is not the same. It's obviously not the same car. You know, it's just this another example of this thing where it's like, yeah, the genius of the system goes in this direction, but it's so completely blind to its own shortcomings, where it's like the really obvious mundane stuff, where if this security checkpoint were being manned by a human, they would see, oh, that's obviously not his car. It's just a license plate. It's obviously not, you know? But because this is a system, this is this high-tech, state-of-the-art system where we scan a license plate and that's all we need to know if someone's allowed or not. And it's like, okay, well, I could just take your license plate and put it on my car and like, boom, I'm in, you know? And again, maybe that was like too obvious and they're gonna show just a couple seconds after I press play that like this actually didn't work for some reason. But yeah, it's just kind of silly. Not silly. It's just kind of like a good example of like, yeah, these systems focus so hard on how high-tech and how specialized they are in certain aspects. And then their shortcomings are like the really obvious mundane stuff. Whereas if this were a human, that would not be an issue.
Open sesame.
But I feel like the make and model of the car is like a really obvious... Okay, yeah, you are being watched. He is aware.
Oh, what the?
Maybe I did pause too early.
So much for the element of surprise.
If it's the system you're fighting,
I say we
obviously
take the stairs.
it would have seen you, you know? Yeah, don't take the elevator, good lord.
28 down, 1 to go.
It's just so, I don't know, it's just so interesting to me. It's like you're entering a building where the building itself is your enemy. So how do you fight it? Obviously you can't do anything with the cameras in every corner watching your every step. But it's like, go as low tech as you possibly can, go as basic as you possibly can, because anything higher than that and you will be stopped. And I don't know if this virus that he's going to plug in is going to be enough. Hi. You're going to join me? Oh, you're gonna cause mischief. Well, I'm gonna press play, okay?
Trick or treat.
Cute. Hey. Okay. We're approaching the climax. I would appreciate it if you would let me focus. Whatever. The lower tech, the better in this instance. Nice. But they said that it controls everything, even the plumbing. I assume it controls the HVAC too. I mean, they gotta get in somehow. It can't be impenetrable or we wouldn't have an episode. Right? Might not be Scully.
Agent Mulder, what are you doing here?
I thought I could control the HVAC. Oh, jeez. Can it
Look,
really
are
be
you
that
sure
simple?
you know what you're doing?
System access granted.
Now I can put in the virus.
Not bad, Agent Mulder. You know, I've been trying to access the CPU for the past 2 years. Now, please.
Defense Department?
Let's just say our paychecks are signed by the same person.
Put down the gun.
Look, you may think you know what you're dealing with, but
Shut up and drop the gun.
Don't listen to him.
the technology in this machine is of enormous scientific interest.
The machine's a monster, Scully. It's already killed 2 people. They won't be able to handle it any better than Wilczek did.
Scully, you know who to trust in this room.
Mulder, put in the disc.
Brad, why?
Interesting.
They can't just take a man like Brad Wilczek without an explanation.
They can.
What government do you work for?
Where is he?
It's crazy that this was in '93 and they're having this
Hard bargaining.
Wilczek
conversation.
won't deal. He'll never work for them.
Loss of freedom does funny things to a man, and remember, Wilczek confessed to 2 murders, and you effectively destroyed the only evidence that could have exonerated him.
What else could I have done?
Nothing, unless you were willing to let the technology survive. They've been
I
on it
like
for
that.
5
I like the
days.
kind of
Wilczek's
moral
virus was thorough.
quandary there.
6 more hours before we have to consign the whole damn thing to the metal shredder.
We'll do what we can, sir.
Proximity detectors burned. No capacity.
I can't follow the circuitry at all.
Nice.
I'm gonna figure this thing out if it kills me.
Nice. That was pretty good. I really liked that. I liked all the stuff that I was saying, you know, about the lens that that episode shines onto, like, the ethics of tech, of, like, you know, artificial intelligence and, like, tech in every aspect of a building, of a home, of a life, that kind of thing. and that kind of powerful tech in the hands of government who are most likely just going to use it for mass surveillance. I like all of that, but I only started thinking about it towards the very end of the episode, and it was kind of reinforced with that last conversation there with Mulder and what's his name, Bill Murray guy. So what was it called? The central operating system in this one, the computer, the villain of this episode, it killed 2 people. But what did it actually want? It killed those people, from what I can see, out of self-preservation, right? Businessman at the beginning was because he was talking about shutting down the program. And then FBI man because he was investigating the initial murder. And that one's obviously that's a little bit shakier. And that's still not obviously that's not a justification for murder, of course. But what I'm saying is that this computer was essentially protecting itself. It killed 2 people, but it wasn't like computer on a rampage like you see in some sci-fi, but they still killed it. And I think for Mulder, the justification was pretty personal because of his friend, and it was targeting Scully, right? So, you can make the argument that it really wouldn't have stopped with 2 people, but still, I just think it's interesting that for all intents and purposes, it was a benign system until they started talking about shutting it down. And if it had been allowed to continue to exist, obviously the DoD wanted their hands on it. And they didn't say it was for mass surveillance purposes. I am saying it's for mass surveillance purposes because it's the Department of Defense with a hyper-intelligent computer system that was already doing surveillance, in this building. They had a camera in every corner, and it was tracking Scully's computer, and it was tracking the phone logs and that kind of thing. It was already doing surveillance of the areas that it had control over. So if the DoD had gotten their hands on it, it's not a stretch to say that that's what it would be used for. So that's why I've been saying, for the purposes of mass surveillance, that's why they wanted it. But you could also just make the argument that they just want to be the first ones to have an artificial intelligence system in the interest of designing weapons, that kind of thing. Yeah, that comparison was made pretty obvious because the guy compared himself to Oppenheimer, right? They were making it clear to us that this was going to be a weapon of mass destruction, essentially. It's just interesting, there's that kind of moral dilemma that Mulder sort of realized at the end, wherein he killed the being who committed the actual murders, and in doing so, an innocent man has taken the fall for it, because in killing the computer, he also destroyed the evidence that the computer was the murderer, right? So he killed a sentient being, Mulder did, with this virus, and he's letting Brad take the fall for the murders that the computer did. But arguably, it had to be done that way because I think the real evil raised in this episode is Defense Department getting their hands on this technology. And the businessman taking the fall was kind of just an inevitable consequence of killing the machine. But killing the machine was kind of the lesser evil because you are killing a sentient being. You are killing a mind and intelligence. And whatever that intelligence has done, like in the case of this episode, it killed 2 people. But then you're running into the issue now. Oh man, there's so much here that you can chew on. Because I was thinking what's the alternative to killing this computer, It's an intelligence, it's a mind. It's sentient. Is it entitled to due process? You can't really arrest it. You can't really try it in a court. You're in a situation where if you need to stop this being, the only thing that you can do is kill it. But and that's a situation where if it were a human being, you would try them in a court of law and give them the chance at due process, But you can't do that with the computer system, partially because no one would believe you. But I just think it's so interesting, the kind of ethical, it's kind of thorny, it's kind of tricky, I don't know, I like that. And I like that I feel like once the computer killed Mulder's friend, he became very tunnel vision on destroying it. And it wasn't until the very end, and he sat down and he had that conversation with Mr. Deep Throat, that he kind of had the realization that he just sort of killed their suspect, in retaliation almost. And I think I wonder if he's actually going to have to grapple with that, or if it can just be sort of rationalized as well, it's not really a person. It's not a person. It's a computer screen. It's ones and zeros, whatever, I wonder if that's not gonna sort of cause him any distress. But I think it does raise questions, and like going forward in this sort of world where one brainy genius nerd was able to make a truly sentient computer, it's not out of the question that, well, and obviously now he's in the custody of the government and they're probably going to force him to make it again. And it's not out of the question that some other brainy genius could come along years down the line and make it again. And if this becomes a thing, then all of a sudden there need to be like laws and protection for artificial intelligence, you know? And I'm not talking about artificial intelligence like we have AI right now. I'm not talking about generative AI, because that's not sentient. That's just a large language model. That's just like, that's a separate thing from the type of artificial intelligence they're talking about in this episode, where it is literally sentient. It is a being with a mind. So when I'm talking about like protections for artificial intelligence, I am not talking about protections for generative AI. She can choke. And I like the kind of, well, I like in the storytelling sense, but I also don't really like the kind of implications of the Department of Defense getting their fingers in this kind of technology. An unfortunate reflection of the way things are going right now. And it's crazy. It's crazy that this was in 93, almost a decade before we have the kind of surveillance brought about by stuff like the Patriot Act, you know? This was already a concern in the early 90s, and it's only become more and more prevalent in the years since then. And I feel like I am treading so carefully around this topic. I might cut this entire section out. Who knows? I also liked the way they presented us with a man who was kind of unlikable. He was Mulder's friend and partner from back in the day, but we kind of got the sense that they had a falling out. And he stole Mulder's notes in his ambition to reach the top, and there was friction there. And then they killed him. And we're all of a sudden like, oh, now I feel bad for being suspicious of this guy, or now I feel bad for like talking shit about him and that kind of thing. And now Mulder all of a sudden was reckoning with his grief, and also was reckoning with the fact that he was like, oh, maybe I should have done more to help. Because he offered to go to the building with him, and if he had been in that elevator, he would have died too. And it sort of throws him into like we were kind of butting heads, and then he just died. And it was kind of not on his watch, but like he probably feels like he could have done something to prevent it. And I think that fueled a lot of his desire to take down this computer system afterwards. I like when the story gives us a victim who's not entirely likable, and then sort of forces you to be like, to reckon with your kind of complicated feelings for that individual after the story has killed them. Again, it's all of these little sort of ethical dilemmas that are kind of simmering under the surface in this episode. Not really a perfect victim, not really a perfect culprit, and you kind of have to be like, what's the right case here? What's the right way to feel? What's the right way to act in this situation? Because this is kind of an unprecedented situation. I said it during the episode, I really like when we get views on technology from the 90s. Because, yeah, some people might find them like kind of dated or kind of cringe or kind of silly. But I think it's so interesting the concerns that they had back in the day, and the way that those concerns are still relevant today, and the way that they might even be more relevant than they were. So it's the same reason why I like the I, Robot You Jane episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love that episode. People hate it. People talk shit about it. People say it's so cringe. I think it's so fun. Oh, I love that one. I might just watch it after this, just because. It's like talking about technology from the 90s, and where like they didn't have a lot of the stuff that we have now, and they didn't have the culture around computers and the internet that we have now, where everyone is like at least a little bit computer literate. I remember in the Buffy episode, like it was kind of introducing people to the concept of catfishing for the first time. Buffy and her friend Xander just sort of realized, they're like, oh, the person that Willow is talking to might not even be a person at all, like might not even be the person she thinks it is. It could be some like weird old lady, like some creepy, you know? And they're like, I never even considered that. And it's so funny that catfishing, pretending to be someone else on the internet, they needed kind of a very special episode to introduce the audience to the idea of catfishing by introducing Buffy and Xander and Willow to the idea of catfishing. But, and that, you know, that is kind of an aspect of technology that is kind of feels dated and silly, because it's like, well, we obviously all know about that now. But the rest of the concerns are still very real. And it's a throwaway bit. I'm still talking about Buffy, by the way. It's a throwaway bit in that episode where the demon that has entered the internet and is now catfishing Willow, there's a scene where they walk past the guy who's on a computer, and, or that might not be the right scene. There's like literally just a throwaway line or two about how havoc is being wreaked in the stock market and like hospital systems and stuff. And that's just kind of a throwaway bit before they continue on with the main sort of plot line where like Willow's being catfished by a demon in the internet. But it's, the demon is also causing these things. These like the stock market hoo-ha and I don't even remember. Anyway, my point is there's like, even when their focus was on other more immediate computer safety concerns in that episode, maybe like more immediate for their audience, they were still able to recognize the kind of larger implications of the internet being the interconnected system, global system that it is, has the potential for a lot of havoc. Way back then, that was a concern. And everything's so much more interconnected now. Not even talking about like places around the world being interconnected and like buildings and businesses and the stock market and that kind of thing, but like we have a computer in our pockets every minute of the day. And a lot of people have a computer in their car that drives them around everywhere you go. You have a computer in your fridge, you have a computer in your mirror, you have all these things. And I am kind of showing my hand as being a hater of smart devices right now. But like, we're so much more interconnected now, and these safety concerns about that interconnectedness are so much more prevalent now. And I just think it's neat being able to look back, neat and also kind of depressing, being able to look back and see that like, oh, this was kind of a concern from the beginning. So I always love old episodes about technology and about the internet and about safety of computers and that kind of thing. Even if, like I said, even if the technology that's being presented on screen, like the hardware itself, is very kind of clunky and old-fashioned, it's still so fascinating. I love it. I'm not even getting into like the tech bro personality type of that main guy, because like I feel like that's kind of self-evident. Not scary, except for the stuff in Scully's apartment at night. That was kind of creepy, but that's because I'm kind of wired to be nervous when we're in Scully's apartment at night. But yeah, not scary. A welcome change from the previous one. Thank you for watching with me. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. Thank you for being patient while I figure out, like I said, I'm trying a new sort of filming setup so that I have more freedom to do it in the daytime. It's a work in progress. I'm figuring it out. We're figuring it out together. And see you next episode. Bye. Actually, not goodbye. I had more thoughts about the episode while I was editing that I felt like couldn't wait until I filmed the next one, even though I might actually film the next one today. But I wanted to get them out with this episode. Also, yeah, my hair is different. Ignore that. Or don't ignore it. Let me know what you think. I would love to be able to give you the name of my stylist without doxing us both. Speaking of the concept of, you know, internet safety and privacy and that kind of thing. Anyway, a couple of things. So it's August 13th while I'm filming this little additional bit, which is just a few days after the anniversaries of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And because this episode talked about Oppenheimer and like made that direct comparison, I just felt like it was worth pointing out, especially because Oppenheimer has become this, you know, this like kind of trope, this character archetype of the genius scientist whose work gets like stolen by government with an agenda, or used for weaponry and that kind of thing, which is why Brad in the episode compared himself to Oppenheimer, so that we, the viewers, could see that the government wants this for, you know, they have their agenda. They want to do weaponry with this kind of thing. And I'm not saying that you can't use his name as that signifier of that trope. I just feel like so many times in conversations, the actual like human casualty aspect of the situation kind of gets forgotten about, you know, because it's not just like a story about the genius scientists and the government with the agenda at wartime, and they used his science to make weapons of mass destruction and he spent the rest of his life regretting it, you know? Like, that's not just a story. There's a very real casualty aspect to that. While I was editing this episode, the anniversaries came up in the calendar, and I would have felt a little bit uncomfortable like having this conversation about Robert Oppenheimer and not pointing out Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the actual like real world aspect of that story, you know? So that's the first thing. The other thing is also an anniversary. Just a couple of weeks ago, August 4th, 2026 was the day of the day on which the story is set of Ray Bradbury's short story, There Will Come Soft Rains, which is kind of crazy that the date of that short story coincided with the date of me like editing this episode talking about smart homes and smart devices and the pervasive use of technology, but also the shortcomings of technology. If you haven't read There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury, go do so right now. It's actually a fantastic short story. It's been one of my favorites for years. I'm not sure whether I should spoil it or not. Anyway, it's interesting to me that that short story, it's, okay, in broad strokes, a smart home, which has been developed, the technology is so great, so high tech, so as to meet every possible need that the family who lives here could have. It wakes you up, it gets your clothes ready, it cooks your food, it cleans the food up, it cleans everything, it teaches the children, it plays with the pets, that kind of thing. And it's fully automated. Every possible aspect. It tells you the news, it tells you the weather, all of that. And it's personalized to the names of the family who live here. But what the smart home doesn't know is that the family who lives here died in a nuclear explosion. They are gone. The family who previously benefited from all of these smart innovations are gone. They have all been killed. This was just kind of the collateral of a greater war that this technology is a byproduct of. The same way that so much technology that we enjoy now was a byproduct of the innovations that happened during World War II in search of more advanced weaponry, you know? And this system that's so incredibly specialized, but also so completely blind to the tragedy that happened around it, it keeps going. It's fully automated. It just keeps going while there's no one there to eat the food and to hear the news and that kind of thing. I need to, let me look up when Ray Bradbury actually wrote that story. When was it published? 1950. He wrote that in 1950. So 5 years after the world saw what happened when nuclear bombs are detonated. And he was looking forward to the potential date of the year 2026, where society has developed the most advanced smart home system you could possibly imagine, and at the same time has enacted the most devastating weaponry you could possibly imagine. And I don't want to be too doom and gloom about the year 2026. I do try to be fundamentally an optimist. Like, I'm not saying that this is like a prophetic short story. That kind of speculative fiction isn't meant to be prophetic. It's really meant to be an insight, you know, shine a lens on stuff that's happening currently for the author in 1950. Currently, that situation, you know, coming out of World War II, the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, entering the arms race, the threat of nuclear destruction, and in the domestic sphere, all of these innovations happening with the potential for good or with the aim of doing good, making life easier for people. They say the goal of certain automated products is making life easier for people, but also removing a lot of the humanity and a lot of the human aspect of daily life in the domestic sphere, you know? I don't want to spend too much time talking about the short story. I just thought it was so crazy interesting that the timeline, that the date happened to pass while I was still thinking about this episode about AI and tech as weaponry in the hands of government and surveillance and smart homes and that kind of thing and the interconnectedness of it all. I just thought it was interesting and I wanted to point it out. Please go read the short story There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury. It's so good. I can't recommend it enough. This is your homework. I'm giving you homework now. Read it, then come back and let's talk about it. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you spot any connections that I missed. And the last thing about this episode that I felt like I wanted to add was just a connection that I didn't notice while I was filming it, but I noticed it while I was watching it back to edit it. So there's the scene in the middle where Jerry steals Mulder's notes, uses them in that meeting, and then Mulder confronts him afterwards, and Jerry's all, what's the big deal? And then I said, well, it's the violation of privacy for one thing, because the thing that struck me the most was that he went into Mulder's office and took those notes from his desk where there was a whole bunch of other paperwork stuff relating to the X-Files and other projects, and like we didn't see Jerry go in and take those notes. We don't know what else he might have seen. Obviously it doesn't super matter because he dies like almost immediately afterwards, but that's the thing, is the violation of privacy. And it's the same exact thing that the system is doing, violating privacy. The way it watches every single corner of the building, it is committing the same violation of privacy, and it's almost immediately after Jerry gets confronted for that violation of privacy that he gets killed by the system. And so I thought it was just a neat little parallel. I wouldn't really call it like comeuppance. It was just kind of, this is like, maybe that is where I'm going with that. It was just kind of like, this is where his character is going now. He did this thing that the villain is doing, and we can't really leave that unanswered. Just an extra layer sort of to his journey as a secondary character in this episode that I just thought it was super neat. I think now, finally, actually, my thoughts are done about this. I think I've said everything I want to say. That doesn't mean I won't have more thoughts in the future, because like I said, this episode was kind of an absolute treasure trove to think about and to grapple with. So I loved it. I really did. 10 out of 10. I'll see you in the next one. I might look exactly the same because I might film that one right now. We'll see.